Hello, my name is Gerald Cole, and I'm a professor of education and management at New York Institute of Technology. I'm also a distance learning facilitator, and in that role I'm charged to help other faculty members make optimal use of our distance learning resources. I'm standing at the rear of DL2, which has mirror classrooms on our two other satellite campuses. DL2 enables us to provide instruction to 60 students simultaneously, with seating for 20 students per site. Each student is separately monitored by directional microphones, which are discreetly embedded in the ceilings overhead. We started out using gooseneck microphones mounted on the desks in front of each student, but found these to be somewhat obtrusive. The kids seemed self-conscious and would tend to crane their necks when responding to questions or participating in discussions. So we followed up on the old adage, out of sight, out of mind. There was also a lot of sound engineering that went into the acoustics of each room. The mics had to be balanced to offset the 60-cycle hum of fluorescent lights and whooshing sounds from the air ducts overhead. We also had to install sound deadening panels around the walls to blunt echoes. The 4 screens at the front of each classroom allow the students at each site to eyeball each other. The local monitor enables them to maintain their presence and posture on camera. As I mentioned earlier, instructions typed simultaneously on 3 sites, so why 4 monitors, you may ask? Actually, the 4th and largest of the screens is used to present documents using an overhead camera, sort of the equivalent of an overhead projector. We can also display videos, satellite TV, electronic slideshows, or computer screens on the large displays. The video camera mounted between the monitors can be zoomed on each student or set for wide-angle panning. One of the principles we teach is to talk to the camera and not to the monitors, because of course not looking into the camera gives the illusion that you're not looking at your classmates. It seems to take about 3 weeks for the kids to make the adjustment, but it's interesting to watch the transition. Start out being rather self-conscious on camera, but in short order they're interacting with one another almost as though they're all in the same room, and the screen becomes more and more transparent, as though it's only a piece of glass and not geographical distance that separates them. Turning now to the instructor's station, there's a variety of peripherals available to enhance teaching. Some of these are familiar and rather mundane. For example, there's the fax machine at each location, and a Xerox machine, and for the distribution of legacy documents, we also have a pouch mail system in operation between the 3 campuses. This operates twice a day, and used for the distribution of handouts like syllabi or manipulatives, floppy disks, CD-ROMs. Kind of works like a turbocharged inter-office mail. The interesting stuff behind the teacher station is a set of rack-mounted peripherals and controls. At the top is a picture-in-picture or PIP unit, which is used to superimpose one video image over another. Most often this is used to avoid what I refer to as out of sight, out of mind syndrome. We found that if students don't see their teacher continuously on screen at remote sites, they act as though he or she doesn't exist. So it's important to maintain a sense of presence with a persistent image. Beneath the PIP is a standard VHS player, the master camera switch, there's an amplifier, an optional patch panel. The little black unit in the middle is a manual graphic equalizer, and below that's a dynamic audio gain control, which you can see following my voice. There, I'll whistle a little bit. At the very bottom we have satellite downlink for conferencing and tapping into K-band educational television broadcasts. On this chair to the left of the teacher station, you'd normally find the quote-unquote production assistant, or PA, which is usually an underpaid work-study student or graduate assistant. There's one PA at each site, and they contribute in large part to the economies of scale achieved via televised EL, in my opinion. The PA helps out by collecting homework, distributing handouts, managing camera angles, and shots of the teacher and the students as they move around the room. As you can see, there's an ungodly number of remote controls that PAs get rather adept at using. Teachers normally don't get practiced enough at wielding these remotes in the course of a term, or resign themselves to codependency on their PAs. I find myself a little herky-jerky with controls myself if I'm away from this environment for more than a week or two. But my PAs are normally bored by midterm, because once I get up to speed, I usually have a control in each pocket and a keyboard across my lap, and get pretty nimble at managing things unconsciously myself. A good PA, however, will read your body language, and you develop a sort of nonverbal link with them to the point that they can anticipate your moves and make smooth camera transitions following you around the room. On the whole, they're pretty useful to have around. Finally, let's take a look at things from the teacher's perspective. On the dais are 3 monitors, one for the local site, the other 2 for the remote sites. The beige unit to the left is the overhead document camera, which is pretty handy because it can also be used to display 3-dimensional objects or demonstrate procedures such as tying a knot, showing the anatomy of a frog, etc., etc. The document camera has some nifty features such as color or black and white mode, reverse video, brightness and contrast controls, and zoom in or zoom out. We have some document cameras that are backlit if you want to show transparencies or slides also. Furthest to the left is a computer which, in this case, is a Wintel box, but could be substituted for a Macintosh. We do net meeting with students who can't make it to class on these machines. We also show PowerPoint presentations and even teach programming. But for the fact that this is intersession and consequently this room is currently being revamped, you'd normally stare out into the classroom space and have a camera trained on your every move from the back of the room. We also usually have one computer between every 2 students and can selectively switch between them and the display up front to share websites or view group presentations or collectively debug buggy programs. We also have a video microscope which can be switched between the displays. In fact, I once had a student demonstrate how to make a wet bounce slide and then display the cell structure of the subject with an image of herself superimposed over it to point out its various features. Pretty powerful stuff. Well, obviously we've just scratched the surface here. There's a lot more I could cover on pedagogy, integrating this technology into the curriculum, methods of assessment. We'll leave that to a future installment.